Hello guys and welcome to the beautiful Siquijor. This is the Philippines island of witchcrafts, waterfalls, beautiful palm tree lined beaches with cliff jumps, and we have really enjoyed our time here. In this video I will take you along sightseeing around the island and also going on a day trip to Apo Island, where I will be doing some dives as well. And Apo Island is said to be one of the most beautiful places to dive in all of the Philippines. But let's start with how I got here, because coming from Moalboal, it was quite the undertaking. Today we go to Siquijor all the way from Moalboal, and it was meant to be only one ferry, but apparently now it's two. So it'll be a very full, kind of complicated travel day. So first we had to take a tuk-tuk to the bus station. We grabbed some snacks at 7-Eleven, and then finally we got going, but not with the bus like we intended, because there was some people offering taxis straight to the ferry port instead of to the bus station and then having to take another tuk-tuk. So eventually we did go with the car. It was only 300 per person, which wasn't too bad. Once we arrived at the ferry port, we got our ferry ticket to go to Dumaguete. Yes, not straight to Siquijor, because there is no direct ferry to Siquijor. So first to Dumaguete. Then we had to take another taxi to get to the other port, because both ferries you need to take do not arrive and leave from the same ferry port on Dumaguete. So, taxi to the next port. There, a guy took all our passports to get our tickets, which was 304 pesos to get to Siquijor. This was kind of like a fast ferry, so it only took us 40 minutes to get to the island. Thank God we made it quite quickly, actually, even though this whole journey was a bit complicated in all the steps we had to take, because then once we arrived on Siquijor, another tricycle. Somehow it was still the easiest travel day I've had so far in the Philippines. Other than that, I then arrived at my hostel, which was monkey business, but I quickly booked out of there because I did not like the dorm room at all. And there was construction outside as well, which was just terrible. So my friends were staying at Tagbalayaan hostel and they were raving about it. So I quickly booked myself in there. And it is probably the best hostel on the island, but it was fully booked when I tried to book it first. After 2 nights at monkey business, I moved to Tagbalayaan, and thank God I did. The staff is simply amazing, and they do this family dinner, I think, once a week, which was so much fun. It's a free dinner. You just pay for some drinks. Love the mango mojitos, and there's live music. Then people started doing karaoke. It was so much fun. And they also serve amazing, good value for money food at the restaurant as well, and the beach is just a 1-minute walk away. They also rent out motorcycles, and these are what you will need to explore around the island and do some sightseeing. So it was 350 for 1 day for a motorcycle, and then it's about 100 for the gas, and that should be enough for the entire day. If you do not drive a motorcycle or you don't have your license, then look into the tuk-tuk drivers. Usually for a certain fee, I don't know how much it is, you can just rent them for a whole day and they take you around the island as well. All right, now let's start the exploring. All right. Our first stop was the stunning Cambugahay Falls. We paid the admission fee and then made our way down to the waterfalls. We have made it to the Cambugahay Falls, and there are 3 tiers, 3 levels that you can visit. So we just walked up to the highest level first, and then we're making our way down. It is so beautiful. I'm obsessed. We arrived at the top tier of the waterfall at a perfect time. There weren't many other people, and we got to enjoy going for a swim and relaxing in the pools, along with some fishies and locals who practiced their rope swinging skills and tricks. We followed the water back downstream, and the second tier was very busy, with tour guides swinging towards the perfect Instagram pics.
We kept walking down to the lowest tier, which was also busy and had another rope swing, and we went for one last swim in between these tiers before getting back on our scooters to drive towards our next stop of the day. The drive was incredibly beautiful.
Alright, after a beautiful drive, we have made it to Salagdoong Beach, where there should be a few cliffs that you can jump off of.
Salagdoong Beach is a privately owned beach with a huge rock in the middle that connects the two wide strips of beach. The beach here is full of stunning shells, but remember to check if nothing's living in them before you take any. You can decide to relax, snorkel and sunbathe, get some good Insta pics, or choose for more adrenaline with the cliff jumps.
I'm just joking.
Yeah!
The other Pitogo cliff was closed at the time due to low water. There is a restaurant on the beach as well, but we had some charcoal ice cream to cool down instead. It was then time to race against the sun on another stunning drive back to make it in time for the sunset at Republica Beach Bar, followed by dinner at Tagbalaya.
We started the second day with a bit of a mission to find a healer, a spiritual healer or shaman, which is linked to the witchcraft of this island. They are a bit harder to find or come by. Usually you just get a random direction and then you have to ask for a certain thing. We got given the word Florida, and eventually we did make it to a very famous, or at least credited, healer. Here's how that went. Alright guys, it is another day, and today Vanessa is getting healed. Siquijor is the island of witchcraft, so we are finding a shaman and getting some local healing done. Let's get going, let's find the shaman.
As we were invited into this man's house by his daughter, who functioned as a translator, we could see his certificates on the wall and knew that we were in the right place. I decided to join my friend Vanessa for a ritual cleansing, and afterwards we found out that we were all good. No insects or dirt came off of the blanket after the ritual was finished. All good. We tipped the man for his service and went to chase some more waterfalls.
We have come to the Lagaan Falls and we needed a tour guide to come down here, and I guess they kind of help you with sliding down the waterfall, doing the swing. There is a tunnel or a cave that you can go into under the waterfall as well, which is pretty cool. But the water, unfortunately, because it's been raining for 2 nights straight, the water is very brown right now instead of the beautiful blue color. But it's still very refreshing and very relaxing. We didn't feel like doing the slide and everything. We just really needed a day to relax. So yeah.
Our next stop was the old enchanted balete tree.
We have made it to the old balete tree, I believe is what it's called. And that is this tree right here, which is meant to be more than 400 years old. Right in front of it is a fish spa, which I did not put my feet in because the fish are enormous. My friends did it yesterday, and apparently the bigger ones don't hurt as much. It's the little ones that do go in for a bite.
After seeing the tree, we drove back to the northwest of the island, where we spent the rest of the afternoon on Paliton Beach, munching on my favorite crisps.
We have come to Paliton Beach, and initially we stopped at the first beach, but I realized that wasn't the one I wanted to go to because I wanted to go to the one with all the palm trees. So if you just keep walking a little further, then you will end up here. This is stunning.
It's definitely the best beach on the island to watch the sunset from. If you walk ahead a bit, you will find Little Boracay, a stunning beach lined with palm trees. You can even see the volcano in the distance. It's giving paradise. the sunset, everyone we had met on the island gathered on Paliton Beach again, where they played live music, drinks were flowing, and we saw the best sunset of the entire trip. Another beach I talked about before was the one near the hostel. After a 1-minute walk, you arrive at TubeBuddy Beach and Sanctuary. Here you pay a small environmental fee and you can rent snorkels to see the marine life along the shore. Since the beaches along the west coast were closed for a few days to give them some time to restore, I found a place where I could enjoy it from a cozy seat. I watched the sunset and the happy pups at Salagdoong, which is next to JJ's Backpackers Village. Talking about JJ's, it was a national holiday, so we enjoyed a Saturday night full of locals here. It was wild. Not far from here, Tipsy Bar and Rum Bar are great places to end the day as well.
Good morning, guys. Today I am going to Apo Island. It is an entire day trip that is only being executed by 2 different companies. I have gone for Island Explorers because it was the cheaper option, especially with 3 dives included. I'm paying less than I would have with the other one with 2 dives included. So we are going diving at Apo Island. Turtles pretty much guaranteed. And very excited to see what else we are going to see, because in Moalboal I dove with a woman who now has close to 500 dives, and she said she came back specifically for Apo Island. So let's see if it's worth the hype. Other than that, if you do not scuba dive, you can also go along on the tour, and then it's a snorkeling day trip. So yeah, I have made it to the pickup point, which is the Siquijor Sunset Glamping, which is right on the beach as well. There you go. The water looks so calm. There's barely any waves around Siquijor. Apo Island is straight across from us right there, and I've already watched the sunset behind it on my first night as well. Let's get going.
We got in the van, and after a short drive to the pier, we boarded our boat for the day. It did feel a bit cramped. The other company's boat sure seemed bigger, but the boat ride wasn't too long. So we had a coffee, geared up, and before we knew it, we were descending down into an actual real-life Nemo movie scene. An incredible aquarium full of colorful fish and corals. I honestly did not know where to look first. And then we spotted what the island is most famous for: the first turtle. We saw another turtle and pluribronch before arriving at the garden eel sandy patch. Don't get too close or they will disappear. I floated around a bit longer as my buddy waited at the surface for the boat to arrive. I just could not get enough of this place.
Oh my goodness, guys, this place was just like an aquarium. We saw 3 turtles, so many trumpetfish, which I love, so many other just angelfish and parrotfish, just all the fish, so many of them. Wow. I saw a few big moray eels as well, like one smaller one, like regular size, a dark one, and a dark really big one, but they are very shy here because as soon as I saw them they disappeared, so I couldn't film them, unfortunately. But yeah, great first dive. I cannot wait to see what the other 2 have in store for us.
We made our way to the town where we picked up the snorkelers from their first stop, where they saw tons of turtles on the reef, while I had a coffee before the second dive.
While I enjoy a coffee, the crew is cooking up our lunch as well. We're meant to do 2 dives in the morning, and then we'll have another one in the afternoon.
I didn't enjoy this dive as much, but we did get to see some pretty cool things, like this lionfish, this cool scorpionfish, nudibranchs blending in perfectly with their environment, and an electric disco clam. As if that wasn't cool already, we spotted this big moray eel, more garden eels in the sand, and this amazing frogfish. They are slowly becoming some of my favorite fish. As we finally found all the Nemos by the end of the dive, we got back on board for lunch. At first I thought that the snorkels had eaten everything, and I was very sad. But then, they showed up with the secret stash. Thank God, and it was delicious. The snorkelers had been exploring the tiny island and its town, and once everyone was back on board, we set sail for the final dive site of the day. Even though we saw plenty of fish on this dive, I was mostly mesmerized by the tiny shrimp our instructor found, and we saw lots of nudibranchs, another moray eel, this really cool frogfish, and of course it wouldn't be a dive at Apo Island without another turtle encounter. We all got back on board after another fascinating dive, said goodbye to our local snorkel guides, and left the island behind us on our way back to Siquijor with a drink and a snack in hand. And just like that, we were back on the amazing island of Siquijor, where a cold drink was waiting for us at the glamping to watch the sunset with.
Alright, my final thoughts on the tour. When it comes to the snorkeling on the tour, you only get 2 snorkel stops, whereas for the diving you get 3. So 2 times 1 hour of snorkeling with the local guide who kind of points things out as you go. They saw at least 8 turtles as well, because when you're snorkeling, you're much closer on top of the reef, which is where the turtles go to eat. So you are probably going to see more turtles if you're snorkeling rather than diving. Although we did see quite a bit of turtles whilst diving as well. The first dive was so many fish, it was like an aquarium. The second one was a bit disappointing, like the chapel one. And then the last one was a lot of corals. It started out great, then got a bit worse, but I guess the reef is a bit damaged from the typhoons that have been happening recently. The Philippines has really suffered from like 4 typhoons in a row. And yeah, you can see it on the reefs as well, unfortunately, but they should be able to restore themselves naturally. Lunch was great. The boat journey wasn't rough at all and wasn't too long. All in all, I would recommend it. The snorkelers kind of thought that they had too much time on the island, whereas I didn't really get to see the island as much. I just, we had lunch after they did, and then once my lunch was done, I didn't feel like I had enough time to get off the boat and go exploring, but some other divers did. But yeah, it was definitely a great day out. I would recommend it. And Island Explorers overall was a pretty good company to go with. That being said, that is it for this video, guys, in Siquijor. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. This has definitely, I think aside from Malapascua, this has been my best experience. Maybe even the best. Maybe this has been the best time I've had in all of the Philippines. So I hope you get to explore it one day, and subscribe if you want to see more of the Philippines. There are still a few more videos coming up, so then I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!